Ladies and gentlemen, look into our source of water, the River Nile. It is full of waste products, and who are the cause? The industries. And here the farmers are trying, the negators are trying to say that the individuals are the cause of water contamination. Let me tell you an example. Crude oil is not put in by individuals. Also, some chemicals from industries are not released by individuals. The judges, the moderator, and you, the house at large. Good morning. My name is Awilding. I'm not alone. We came here as a team comprised of 3 speakers, and later they are going to tell their names. And before I go further, allow me give you the motion. The motion is environmental activists should blame large corporations for environmental degradation rather than individual groups. Before I go further, allow me define the keywords. The keywords are environmental activists. These are people who work for environmental change. Blame is to put a responsibility of an error on someone or something. Large corporation, this is a big entity that typically operates in multiple locations. Degradation, the act of changing to a lower state which is less respected. Individuals, group, these are people or persons or the citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me go into my case. Allow me talk of pollution. Pollution, this is the process by which harmful substances are introduced into the earth's surface. Under it, I'll talk of air pollution. Air pollution is the release of dangerous gases into the atmosphere by the industries, ladies and gentlemen. Take an example of the areas of Gumbo Soup. It is congested, full of industries which are releasing harmful substance, for example, carbon dioxide, which later goes into the atmosphere and cause global warming, which leads to heat waves, ladies and gentlemen. And the farmers and the negators here are trying to say that individuals can lead to air pollution. They will tell us later. Ladies and gentlemen, and to prove it, we go to the areas of Gumbo. As I said before, you'll find that industries are really emitting harmful substances into the air, which can cause diseases to us and also to our animals around us. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me talk of water pollution. It's the process by which toxic wastes are released into the water by the industry. For example, the chemical and the oil. Let me give you an example of St. Mary, the factory of soda. Its pipes are taken down into the water, and again it takes water from the river, and when the water is refined later, the waste product again will be released, will be taken back into the water source, leading to production of chemicals and oil into the air. In summary, I've talked about air pollution and water pollution under a theme, pollution. Conclusively, ladies and gentlemen, do not ever blame individuals for any cause of any harmful things into the substance. The causes are large corporators. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have 5 sticks like I'm having and you try to break 5 of them at the same time, you never break them. But if you take each per a time, you break all of them. For example, you have broken one, but if you try all of them, you never break them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we are talking today as team negators. As team negators, the judges, the moderator, the timekeeper, plus you, the audience. Good afternoon. My name is Eleonora Naideng, the first negator of today's resolution, while the other team members will come and introduce themselves. Before I move further, ladies and gentlemen, the first farmer came here and tried to define the keywords of the motion, but she did not define them properly. But let me give you more clue about the real definition of the motion. In large corporations, these are big business entities that are made up of group of people, not just big business entities, but they are made up of groups, meaning it's an individual plus another individual. They come together and they form a large corporation. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me enter into my case. I would like to talk of global warming as a theme. Under it, I'm going to talk of fossil fuels. Ladies and gentlemen, If you look around us now, you see motorcycles moving, vehicles moving. They are producing a greenhouse gases going to the atmosphere, later causing global warming, and then we decide to blame the large corporations. Well, not blaming the individuals who are driving the cars and riding the motorcycles. To go further, allow me to talk of poverty. Poverty is the state or condition when a person lacks financial status. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at our soldiers today, they haven't received their money for 9 good months. Meaning, so they have no financial status. They go to the bushes, start burning the forest, and to form charcoal. Later, they take them to the Shirkat market, sell them in order to get money for their personal uses. If they burn this charcoal, the air that is burned will later go into the atmosphere to cause global warming. Later drought comes and we decide to blame large corporations. Now, if I'm to ask their farmers, are those individual groups who go to the forest and burn the forest, are they large corporations? You have to come and answer that. To summarize, I've talked of climate change as my theme. To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, a lazy man will always blame his tools, and that's what we are doing today as individuals. We are blaming large corporations which are telling us to keep our country clean. If you think that I'm lying, go to the bottles. Under there, they are written, recycle me after use. Now, how do we blame them yet they are telling us to keep our country clean? So that's what we are doing today, because we are lazy to clean our country. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was once said by Abraham Lincoln that the greatest threat to our planet is not from the individual groups, but from the large corporations who prioritize profit over the health for the people and the environment. My name is Petro Kwetima, the second farmer of today's solution from the team Debate Warriors. Before I go any further, allow me first touch some of the inconsistencies that were said by the first negator. She started by saying that it sticks, 5 sticks when broken, they will not. And she left it hanging. Ladies and gentlemen, why didn't she explain for us to understand what were those sticks for? How do they relate to the motion? I think she did not do that. Also, she talked of vehicles and motorcycles being driven by the individuals. But let me ask them a question. Are these motorcycles and vehicles produced by individuals? Of course not. They are produced by large corporations, the big companies. So why do we blame the individuals and these large corporations who produce them? So we should blame the large corporations rather than individual groups. Ladies and gentlemen, my first farmer talked of pollution, whereby she said air pollution is caused by large corporations. Of course, indeed, that is true. According to Quora.com, China has around 18,000 industries. Just imagine, 18,000 industries. And all these industries produce gas to the atmosphere. So they cause environmental degradation. Should we blame the individuals again? Of course no. We should blame the large corporations for all this pollution that they cause the environment. To go into my case, allow me to talk of deforestation. Deforestation is the act in which the trees are cut down without any replacement. Take an example of Amazon rainforest. It was called Amazon rainforest, but right now, as I talk, ladies and gentlemen, it is called Amazon desert. Why? Because these large companies went into the forest illegally and cut down the trees in order to make the logs. The deserts the team negators are sitting on are made through the timbers that are produced by the large corporations by cutting down in the forest. So do we blame the individuals group? Of course no. We should blame the large corporations for such degradation and desertification to our environment. Allow me to talk of mining. Mining is the extraction of minerals from the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can see in our country, we are rich of minerals. Take an example of Kapoita. If you go to Kapoita right now, these large corporations dig the ground and then remove the minerals from there. And later they will leave that holes like that without doing anything, without making them clear again. And if that left like that, ladies and gentlemen, rain comes, it will be full of water. That water will be stagnant and affect the people living near the environment. Number two, that land will be useless at all. There will be no agriculturalists that will cultivate in that land. Is that individual group? Of course no. These are large corporations who are responsible for such degradation in the environment. So we should blame the large corporations rather than individual groups. To summarize all my work, I talk about deforestation and mining. And to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, the environment belongs to you, the men and women. But there's no day you will poison yourself. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if the team of farmers decide now to make a crime, who will be blamed for that crime? Of course, the farmers will be blamed for making that crime, but the crime itself will not be blamed. What I'm trying to mean is that individuals come up with an idea which is large corporation. So we shouldn't blame the idea, but we will blame the individual themselves, the moderator, the judges, and you, the house at large. Good afternoon. I am Amor Dengakol, the second negator to negate the resolution of today's debate. Ladies and gentlemen, before I go any further, the second farmer from the affirmative side came and talked of deforestation, where he gave an example of Amazon forest, where he said these trees were cut down by the large corporation. But if I'm to ask you, if I'm to ask you, who cut down the trees? Of course, the machine were made, but individuals themselves use the machine to cut down the trees. He also talks of mining in Kapoita, where he said holes are being dug. But if I'm to ask you, bringing out these minerals need a machine, and to use this machine need an individuals to use the machine. So we have to think about it. To get into my case, I would like to talk about theme population growth, and under it I'm going to talk of disposal of waste. Ladies and gentlemen, disposal of waste, this is a process or an act of misplacing waste. If I'm to give you an example of Pericam, if you go now to Pericam, you will find people displacing waste, pampers and many others being displaced down. Or is there any large corporation there? There's no anyone there. The only individuals themselves disposing waste onto the environment, and later on will poison our environment, and it will lead to environmental degradation. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to talk of pollution. Pollution, this is a process or contaminating the environment by the use of dangerous machines. Ladies and gentlemen, if you go to Gumbasug now, you will find these women disposing their waste onto the ground, putting the rotten goods onto the ground, and later on when the rain rains, it will take all this waste that is being disposed on the land, take it into our river source, and later on it will pollute our ground, our water, and it will lead to environmental degradation. Now why are we loitering around, believing just an idea being created by people and leaving the people behind what is being blamed? Ladies and gentlemen, in summary, I talked of a theme population growth, and under it I talked of disposal of waste and pollution. In summary, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, large corporation is just an idea created by people. So we shouldn't blame an idea. Let's just focus on individuals themselves. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to think about this. If a madman takes a stick and hits your head, will you blame the madman or will you blame his madness? You will blame his madness, right? This is exactly what's happening here. We have large corporations producing things that cannot decompose in our environment, and later they are used by individual groups, and when they throw them, they cause environmental degradation. But we need to blame individuals. I think that's not right. We have to blame the people who produce these things that cannot decompose in our environment. Ladies and gentlemen, and the judges, my name is Nyokchol Garang. I'm from the affirmative side. And before I proceed, that's some of the things I want to talk about that were said by the team negators. They said that a large corporation is an individual's idea, so we should not blame an idea. Now let me ask you a question. If I form a large corporation today, and then we produce materials that decompose in the environment, we manufacture cars that use electricity but do not emit gases to the atmosphere, will they cause environmental degradation? Of course not, right? But if the idea is about manufacturing cars that will pollute the environment and making materials that will not decompose in the environment, won't that cause environmental degradation? It will cause, right? So the problem is the idea, not the people. If the idea is not well done, it will degrade the environment. And if it is well done, it will cause no harm. Ladies and gentlemen, they also talked about cars being driven by individuals around the area. Cars are manufactured by large corporations corporations. Everything that we use as individuals are manufactured by larger corporations. And then later, when we have no place to put them, we just throw them into the environment. And when they spoil the environment, the farmers here come and say that we are the problem. Are we the problem? Should I blame you? Of course not. I cannot blame you. I cannot blame myself. I should blame the place where these materials come from. Ladies and gentlemen, in summary, we as a team, we have talked of deforestation, mining, pollution. And in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, if you need this world to do away with environmental degradation, and then with the team and farmers bring you a solution, let us form larger corporations that will put in their minds our environment does not need things that will spoil it. It needs things that are bio-friendly to it. It needs us to produce cars that will not emit gases to our environment. It needs us to notice that our industries that we produce things from emit gases to the atmosphere, and we have to control them. And this is the solution. But if we are going to continue blaming individuals, and then we will never solve this case of environmental degradation. I rest our case. Thank you.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, if today I come up with a bad idea, who will be blamed? I think I will be blamed because the idea was brought by me, but we will not blame the idea which cannot even listen to you. So this is the same case what we are saying today as the team negators. We are saying that rather than blaming large corporation which is just an idea, why don't we blame us ourselves, who are the individuals, for the crime that happened in our own environmental? Yet we have eyes, and an idea does not have eyes. In front of you is a UN elite, the third negator from the negating side, who is coming to negate the motion. Who is coming to negate today's motion? Dear ladies and gentlemen, the team farmers came and talk of pollution. But can I ask you a question? For pollution to happen, it must be that for pollution to happen, there must be a substance that will be introduced into the environment in order for that pollution to happen. They talked of air pollution, but can I ask you a question? When gases are to be released today, we will need an individual that will operate the machine. First of all, the machine need to be operated by an individual, and then that individual will also release the pollution into the air, or will pollute the air due to his own doing. So why we blame large corporation, yet it is just an idea? Our team case as the team negators, we are saying that rather than blaming large corporations, why don't we blame the individuals who are behind? And it is the same case what we are doing today. We are blaming corruption for the root cause that happened, or the economic crisis that happened in South Sudan. But if we find the individuals behind this corruption, don't you think that we will solve the corruption in our country? So why don't we look for the individuals behind these large corporations so that we solve the degradation of the land, rather than blaming just an idea that cannot listen to us, and yet individuals we can listen to each other and we can understand. They also came and talk of deforestation, which they say it is cutting down of trees. But can I ask you a question? If today a person is from a certain company and you are sent to go and cut down a tree, are you going to cut down as a large corporation, or you yourself with the large corporation involved? Which will not be involved, because first of all, the tools you are using as an individual, they are tools created by individuals, and you yourself will be the one to go and cut down all those things. To come to our side, my first speaker talked of climate change, and my second speaker talked of waste dumping. And if time could have allowed me, I'm going to talk of deforestation, which they already stated that it is the cutting down of trees. And if people cut down trees, this may lead to deforestation. And sometimes this one, let's say for example in Botan, people are cutting down trees, but these ones are not large corporations. These are individuals themselves for their own purposes, and they are cutting down these trees. So all that we are saying as the team negators is that large corporations should not be blamed. We should rather blame the individuals behind large corporations rather than blaming an idea, because it is just only an idea. To summarize, we talked of climate change, waste dumping, and then deforestation. And to conclude, dear ladies and gentlemen, if today the student of Greenbelt Academy decide to burn down this school, who will be blamed? I think that the students will be blamed, because they will not say that Greenbelt was burned down by students, but they will look for that individual who started the idea. The individual who came up with the burning of the school, they will look for that person, and they will be able to trace that person, and that person will be punished. So what I'm saying is that let's all the individuals accountable for all their mistakes that they have done, rather than focusing on an idea that will not even say that I accept it was my fault. Thank you. We rest our case.